I know you are locked in battle.
Hear my voice. Our mother thinks she will win because she has left you alone. But you are not alone.
What are you doing?
Trying to enter Elijah's thoughts.
Esther has locked me out.
Is this rash a side effect of the witchy acid trip he's on?
Our mother would use the petals of a rare Merlock orchid to put him to sleep. She would mend his mind with a spell and then wake him.
You stay here with your wolves and mind the fort.
Rather rip your mother's head off.
Steer clear of her. I mean it, Hayley. She already got to you once. What would happen if Elijah were to wake and find you a victim of her madness?
I won't go after her, I promise. I've learned a few things from your mother. I won't go after her. I'll go after everything that she loves.
As Hayley and Elijah's relationship gradually heated up, Hayley's gaze grew sharper. After everything they had been through, their feelings were no longer as restrained as before. I personally prefer the originals because the pacing is faster, the fight scenes are more intense, and the characters are more mature. Unlike the Vampire Diaries, which focuses heavily on pure love stories, the originals delves deeper into family dynamics, legacies, and the complex grudges between different races and factions.
Stop following me. Now kindly piss off. I'm in a hurry to help my real family.
You seek the Merlock orchid. I saw you carry Elijah home last night. Who do you think used to find the orchid for your mother to put Mikael to sleep? You can storm off in a fit of stubbornness if you like, but I suggest you do so toward the west. 1,000 years estranged. Surely you have questions for me.
Just one. Is there a way to cure Elijah without having to listen to the pointless ramblings of an old man? You know, I used to tell myself that my real father must have had no idea I existed.
Esther forbade me from seeing you, so I waited. When that happened, Mikael found me first. I fought him for you. I've watched you from beyond for centuries and never found true peace. I watched you paint. I watched you feel your unborn daughter's kick.
I said, stop! Were your eyes closed as I slaughtered whole villages? Face it, I have a tendency to play with my food. Have I made you proud, Father?
This is precisely the charm of Klaus's character. He is emotionally rich yet rarely shows his feelings because he's afraid of being used. He's been hurt before, so he believes he can't afford to have any emotions. Yet at the same time, he deeply craves love and family, which is evident in the way he deals with his relatives.
Vervain. It's everywhere. My relentless mother has set a trap.
I'll retrieve the Merlock for you.
At what cost?
Why don't you use your vampire abilities to end your doubts? Search my mind. You'll see I'm not allied with your mother. I'm surprised at your cowardice. While you stand here in fear of me, your brother suffers further.
Gather the orchids.
I've always seen a blade to have a very different use.
Mikael taught you to kill, Klaus. Power lies in embracing your true nature.
You think I should accept my mother's offer?
As a wolf, you could be king to an entire species. You would feel true peace. You would be a better father.
I am no longer a father.
When you were a boy, after each full moon, I would wake closer to your village, having been drawn to you in the night. I know the call of my own blood, Klaus. I know your child is still alive. This will help Elijah.
Ansel, I'd be lying if I said your offer wasn't appealing. I think I would have liked to have been your son.
For the past 1,000 years, been son of Mikael. Paranoid, vengeful,
I'm powerful enough to protect my daughter. I believe you. But love is what Esther twists. She will use them to get to my little girl. You waited too long before you came to rescue me. I won't make the same mistake with hope.
No. No, Klaus. I know you. You are not capable of this.
That's the first lie you've told me.
This plot twist came out of nowhere. Klaus directly killed his own father. Just moments ago, we were talking about how he deliberately hides his emotions, which was evident from the very first season when he sealed Elijah. Now, he's gone even further, cutting off his emotional attachment to achieve his goal. He knew that Esther would unbumpedly use his emotional vulnerability against him. There's one thing he said that was absolutely right. You've already missed your time to be a father, and I've missed my time to be your son. Now, the only thing that matters to him is his own child, his Hope.
Stand in the quiet of Hope Mikaelson's New Orleans bedroom, years after Klaus's death. On the wall hangs a painting, a Viking longhouse, snow falling softly, a boy clutching a wooden wolf. Hope painted it, based on the stories Klaus told her. Stories of a father who turned snow red with his son's blood, of a whip that left marks deeper than skin. Now, run your finger over the canvas's edges, and you'll almost hear it. Mikael's voice, low and cold, echoing through the decades. You are a monster. Even in death, Mikael won, not because he destroyed Klaus, but because his shadow lingered, shaping every choice Klaus made, every wound he carried, every attempt to be better. For Klaus, the worst part of trauma wasn't the pain itself. It was that the man who'd inflicted it never truly left. Mikael's influence outlived him in the most insidious ways. He was there when Klaus hesitated to hug Hope, fearing his hands that had killed, that had been raised in violence, would hurt her. He was there when Klaus refused to let Elijah leave New Orleans, whispering, "If he goes, everyone goes." He was there when Klaus stared in the mirror, seeing not the father he wanted to be, but the boy who'd begged for mercy in the snow. In the original season 5, Klaus admits to Caroline, "I thought killing Mikael would set me free, but he's still here, inside me, telling me I'll never be worthy of her." That's the cruelty of emotional abuse. It doesn't die with the abuser. It becomes a part of you, a voice that narrates your life, that makes you question every good thing you have. Mikael didn't need a body to control Klaus. He needed only the scars he'd carved into Klaus's psyche, the ones that made Klaus believe he was unlovable, the ones that made him cling to control like a lifeline, the ones that made him fear he'd become the monster his father called him. And then there was the sacrifice. The moment Klaus stepped into the light, letting the Hollow's magic consume him to save Hope, he wasn't just dying for his daughter. He was dying to undo Mikael's work. He was dying to give Hope what he'd never had. A father who chose her over his own fear. A father who protected her without hurting her. A father who loved her unconditionally. When he says to Hope, "I want you to have a life where you don't have to run, where you don't have to fear the man who's supposed to love you," he's not just talking about the Hollow, he's talking about Mikael. Hey! He's talking about the boy who ran from his father for a millennium, who never felt safe, who never felt loved. Klaus's sacrifice wasn't an act of heroism. It was an act of atonement. Atonement for the mistakes he'd made, for the pain he'd caused, but most of all, atonement for letting Mikael's shadow define him for so long. In his final moments, he tells Elijah, "I'm not just saving Hope, I'm saving myself." Saving the part of me that was never a monster, just a boy who needed his father. That's the truth of Klaus's choice. It wasn't about being strong. It was about being brave enough to break the cycle, to ensure Hope never carried the scars he did. But let's not mistake Klaus for a perfect hero. He was a tragedy. A man who loved fiercely but hurt deeply, who wanted to be good but didn't know how, who carried his father's wounds like a cross. He was the hybrid who set cities ablaze, yes, but he was also the boy who cried over a broken wooden wolf. He was the man who locked Rebekah in a coffin, yes, but he was also the brother who begged her to forgive him. He was the father who feared he'd hurt Hope, yes, but he was also the father who died to save her. In the original series finale, Elijah says of him, Klaus Mikaelson was many things, a monster, a king, a brother, but above all, he was a survivor of his father's cruelty, a survivor of his own demons, a survivor who chose to give his daughter the life he never had. That's the essence of the tragic hero. Not that he's perfect, but that he strives for perfection, even when it's out of reach. Not that he's without scars, but that he lets those scars teach him, not break him. Mikael's mark on Klaus was permanent. It was in the way he flinched from a raised hand, in the way he apologized for being vulnerable, in the way he loved so hard he scared people away. But Klaus's mark on the world was greater. It was in hope. Strong, kind, unafraid to love. It was in Elijah, who learned to forgive. It was in New Orleans, a city he'd fought to protect. Even when it fought back, Klaus didn't let his scars make him a monster. He let them make him human. In the end, Mikael's victory was hollow. He'd spent centuries trying to destroy Klaus, but Klaus had the last word. He chose love over hate. He chose sacrifice over selfishness. He chose to be more than his father's son. The scars remained. They always would, but they no longer defined him. They were a reminder of where he'd been, not where he was going. So when you think of Klaus Mikaelson, don't just think of the hybrid. Think of the boy in the snow. Think of the father holding his daughter. Think of the man who died so his loved ones could live. Think of a tragedy, yes, but also of a triumph of the human spirit over the cruelty of the past, a triumph of love over fear, a triumph that even the deepest scars can't erase the good in us. Mikael wanted Klaus to be a monster, but Klaus chose to be a hero. That's the legacy that endures. And you're all